Hey everyone, welcome to video 1 of Pinkoween. This video is called Downward Spiral. I'm going to show you how to do a real simple spiral design. And Pinkoween was just inspired by a lot of the Halloween goodies I've seen in the store this year. It's all about pink. So I'm really excited to use this palette this month. I'm going to put the colors up on the screen that I'm going to be using throughout the month, and of course you can change those. You can use any similar pinks, any similar oranges, shake it up, make it your own. If you're not into the Pinkoween color palette, you can totally change it, so don't stress about that. And let me take that down off the screen. If you need to pause and grab some paint, go ahead and do that so you have the color list. I am going to go ahead and get started here. I've got my background painted black, and I've got a 16 arm stencil. I use this one the most. Put on my background here, and this is a 4-inch, about 10 centimeter piece of wood that I've got here that I'm doing the design. So I'm working fairly small today, and we're just going to do a really fun basic spiral. All right, to get started, you're going to want to grab your 6mm dotting tool, and we're going to make our center white. I will mention, as you're working with me, you can pause, rewind, and change the speed of my videos. That's one of the beautiful things about working with YouTube. So don't hesitate to adjust things to make them a little easier for you. All right, next, I'm going to get a 1mm and 1.5mm tool here. And what we're going to do with the colors is whatever I do on one side of the dot, I'm going to do on the opposite side of the dot. So I'm using 4 main colors here. I'm using 2 pinks and 2 oranges. I am going to start with my light pink, and I'm going to do a 1mm dot on the top and a 1mm dot on the bottom. Then I'm going to get my dark pink. Need to mix mine up. It's separated just a little bit there. 1mm. And I'm going to do 1 dot to the right and 1 dot to the left. I'm going to get my light orange, and I'm going to do halfway in between these two, up here, still 1mm, and halfway between those on the lower left. So upper right, lower left. And then when we've got one more set of dots to do across from each other, I'm going to use my dark orange and do my upper left and lower right. So this is what we're working with here. And this kind of sets the stage for the rest of the spiral. So we're going to use this to base all the rest of the colors. And so I've got light pink, light orange, dark pink, dark orange, light pink, light orange, dark pink, dark orange. Once you have this set up, everything else is super easy to follow. All right, I'm going to switch to my 1.5mm side, And we're going to follow this same pattern, but we're going to shift everything to the right. So I'm going to use 1.5 millimeters and my light pink, and I'm going to go in between my light pink and my light orange. So we're shifting it over. We're going to follow this circle around and shift it over. So we're going to go in between. And then I'm just going to follow that pattern all the way around. So next is light orange, 1.5 millimeter. Then dark pink. And then dark orange. It's hard to see my light pink on here. It looks a lot like white, but this one right here is my light pink. The other colors show up pretty okay. All right, we are going to continue this pattern. So I'm going to get a 2.5 millimeter and a 3 millimeter, and those are the next two size dots we're going to do. So again, I'm following this pattern. I'm going to get my light pink. This one's going to go on a line, so we're going out a row on the line, one over. Remember, we're shifting everything one spot. Next, we're doing that orange. And dark pink. And every time we shift these over, that's what creates that spiral design as we work our way out. And then dark orange is next. So that was 2.5 millimeters. And we're going to go up a size 3 millimeters. We start again with the light pink. This time it's going in between. And light orange. Dark pink. And dark orange. So we did the next row with 3 millimeters. Again, just moving the colors over one spot. All right, next we're getting a little bit larger. We're going to get our 4 millimeter tool. We're going to do the same thing, moving over one space. So start with light pink. Then light orange, and you can see as far as my placement goes, I'm right on that very first ring for my stencil. I'm just beyond that. dark pink. Then dark orange. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that barking. My dogs like to keep me safe from Amazon and UPS and all the other trucks that come down the street. As you can see, I'm using 6mm. Again, moving everything over one space. So we're just increasing in size. And then the next one is 8mm. So again, just moving everything over one space with my 8mm. Alright, so this is what it should look like at this point. I'm going to give everybody just a second to catch up because I know we don't all work at the same speed. All right, let's move on to the next step. We're going to start walking the dots. I'm going to get my 2.5mm tool and we're going to walk the dots with white. So around the edge, the 8mm that we just did, I'm going to dip once, and I'm going to walk on one side only. So I'm going to dip in the center and then walk around one side. And I'm going to do that all the way around. So dip. All together I can fit 7 dots. So center, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Center, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Center. Of course, you can, start and stop wherever you feel comfortable with the walking the dots. Sorry about the barking, y'all. I decided to go live. That's when trucks decide to come down the street, and then my dog goes bonkers, and it's all over from there. All right, so our white walking the dots. Next, I'm going to flip to the 3mm side, and I'm going to match the color. So again, I'm going to start with my light pink. I'm going to dip, dot in the center, and then walk the dots around. And I can do the other light pink. And then we just move our way around. So I'm matching the color that's in the circle. So now I've got my light orange. Then dark pink. Then dark orange. All right, to connect this spiral a little bit, I am going to walk the dots in between the spiral. And I'm going to do that today with the color that matches. So we're going to start in between. We're going to skip the area where we've got the walking the dots. I'm not going to put anything right here, but I'm going to start with that next space. So I'm going to start with my light pink as I've been doing. I'm going to dip with my 3mm tool, and I'm going to dot, 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 dot. And that just kind of connects that spiral a little bit. And I'm going to go around and do it with all the colors. All right, for the next step, we want this to be pretty dry. So what I want you to do is pause the video, dry your piece, either with, if you've got a hairdryer or a heat gun, you can use that. That's what I'm gonna do. Or just come back when your piece is dry and then we'll move on to the next section. I'm gonna go ahead and blow some air on mine. All right, next I'm going to use black paint. So I've got some out here. I'm just going to mix it up, make sure it's not getting goopy on me. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to add a top dot, and it's going to be a little smaller than what's underneath it. So to start with, these are 8mm dots on the end, the big ones. So I'm going to use a 4mm tool. And I'm going to do black dots in 4mm. So on all of the outside dots. The next dot here is 6mm, and so I'm going to use a 3mm tool for these. I'm going to go down to 2.5mm for the next one. I'm going to get my 1.5mm stylus and do the next three. So dot, dot, dot. Actually, there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can just kind of walk those. You can use a 1 or 1.5mm. And that looks kind of cool, doesn't it? To go all the way around with the top dots. And I am actually going to let this dry, and I'm going to do one more layer of top dots in the coordinating color that's underneath. So this obviously has to dry before I do that. I am going to add another dot in the center there. We had a 6mm dot in the center, so I'm going to grab my 3mm tool and add a black dot right on top there. And then, of course, one more time, I'm going to go ahead and dry my piece. All right, ideally it would have dried naturally. That's the best way to do it because the paint is still going to be wet underneath that little film that I've created. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and do my third set of top dots. I'm going to use my 3mm tool and I'm just going to walk it right down the colors. So I'm going to dip in my pink and then I can start walking right down. As it gets towards the bottom, it might get kind of tight. You might want to use a little bitty stylus tip. It's kind of your call. It depends on how it works out. Sometimes you can get in there with the dotting tool you start with. Sometimes it's just really teeny tiny. So I'll show you, lift it up a little bit and show you with that pink. I went all the way to the center with that top dot. And then last but not least, I'm going to add a third top dot right in the center with the white. And that is the complete design. So I called this one Downward Spiral. It's a pretty easy spiral design. Once you get the hang of the spiral, it's super easy to continue following that. As you're working on Halloween pieces, especially when you've got colors like pink, you can always keep it as is, or don't be afraid to embellish it. Like I've got some Halloween glitter here that I could totally add in some of these spaces. If, oops, I want to wreck my piece before it's dry, right? Anybody else always do that? Okay. So for example, I could place some of these around the edges if I really wanted it to read Halloween. It's really easy to find glitter or little embellishments in craft stores this time of year. So you can do that, or you can keep the palette as is. And it's super okay if it doesn't read Halloween. The colors look really good together. So let me know how you choose to finish off your piece. Definitely tag me and share a picture on social. If you found value in this content, please like and follow my YouTube page. You can also find me on Facebook at Tara Lynn Pugh Artist. I would love to see what you create. I would love to cheer you on. I'm going to have lots of Pinkoween videos this year, so feel free to join in the fun. And I will see you next time, everyone. Thank you for putting up with my dogs barking and all the chaos here in my house. But that's just normal life for most of us, right? I'll see you next time. Have a great day, everyone.